Cram Flatly was an ordinary man, or at least he thought so. He lived in a small, forgettable town where life moved slowly and nothing ever seemed to change. But one day, a strange curse began to take hold of him, though he didn't realize it at first. It started innocently enough. Cram was at work when he bent down to tie his shoe, and a loud RIP echoed through the office. His pants had torn clean through the seam. Embarrassed but not overly concerned, he hurried home to change into a new pair. The next day, however, the same thing happened. Another pair of pants ripped in the exact same place. Over the next week, it became a pattern. No matter what kind of pants he wore, jeans, slacks, even pajamas, they would tear apart. It didn't matter how careful he was or how little he moved. They always ripped with a sickening sound. The tearing always started at the same spot, right down the middle. The sensation was like cold fingers pulling his clothing apart, and each time it happened, the feeling grew more sinister. Cram visited tailors, doctors, and even a priest, but no one had answers. His tailor claimed there was nothing wrong with the pants, his doctor said it was impossible, and the priest suggested it was just bad luck. But Cram knew something unnatural was happening. Each time his pants ripped, he felt an eerie presence lurking closer. One night, desperate for relief, Cram decided to stay perfectly still. He sat in his favourite chair, barely breathing, afraid even the slightest movement would tear his clothing. Midnight approached, and as the clock struck 12, he heard it again. RIP. This time it was louder, more deliberate, like something unseen was toying with him. Cram stood up in horror, looking down at his torn pants. But the fabric wasn't just ripped, it was shredded, hanging in tatters. In the mirror across the room, Cram saw something. It was faint at first, but then it grew clearer. A figure stood behind him, grinning, its smile impossibly wide, its eyes dark and hollow. It was wearing the same tattered pants as Cram, but the rest of its body was distorted, twisted, like a reflection from a broken piece of glass. The figure stepped closer, though Cram didn't hear its footsteps. He couldn't move, frozen in terror. As the figure reached him, it whispered in a raspy voice, "You can't escape. It's always been you." With a final deafening RIP, Cram's pants tore completely, and so did the fabric of his reality. The room twisted, the walls dissolving into darkness. The last thing Cram saw before he vanished was the creature, now standing where he had been, wearing his torn clothes, smiling. No one in town ever saw Cram Flatly again. But late at night, when the wind howls through the streets, some say they can hear the sound of ripping fabric echoing from the shadows. And if you listen closely enough, you might just hear a whisper, "It's always been you."